special guest today, Mimi Kirk. Her website is youngonrawfood.com. I'm very pleased to be speaking about her, about this incredible woman who is 77 years old, who takes charge and responsibility for her life, of living a life, of celebrating life, and respecting food and knowing what food is all about, contributing to her health. Her health is her wealth, and she's an inspiration to all. So today, Mimi, thank you. How are you today?
I'm great. Thank you for having me on your show.
So you are in San Diego, California.
Correct.
And tell me when you first started to embrace the raw food diet, and was there a before and after of not living in the raw food way?
I grew up on the standard American diet, and it wasn't until I was 30 that I realized that inhumane treatment to animals, and that's what actually turned me off from eating any animal or animal products. So I was a vegetarian for many years, and then I didn't really know enough about vegan, but then I went vegan. I learned more about that. I had decided one day that I just didn't want to eat animals anymore. I came home and told my children, they were all young, that we were not going to eat animals, and once I told them the story, they were totally into it. So I was on and off for a better part of 40 years, mostly vegetarian or vegan for that time, and occasionally I'd go off a couple of years here or there, and then I'd come to my senses again and come back to it. But I didn't actually start eating raw food until I was 69. And I started eating that way because my doctor told me my blood pressure and cholesterol was high, and my family's health history is not so hot. So I thought, well, I could either go on prescription drugs for the rest of my life, or I could change something. So I started reading and studying and reading everything I could, and raw food kept coming up as the way to go. And I love to cook and I love food, and I wasn't sure if I was going to like raw food because it didn't sound that interesting when I first heard. I thought carrot sticks and celery. And then I started making delicious dishes. Once I decided to do a juice cleanse for a week and start eating raw food, I've never looked back. So I actually started eating raw vegan food at the age of 69. And I really feel it did reverse my high blood pressure and cholesterol. 6 months later, I was normal again. So I was hooked on eating that way.
So it took 6 months.
To change that part.
To get favorable results.
Right. But during that time, I had more energy, more vitality. I always felt pretty good, but no aches or pains, no arthritic pains. I woke up every day. I thought my teeth looked whiter. I thought I looked younger. I think it added a lot of energy and spirit to me, and I'm sure it slowed down the aging process. I can really feel that it did do that.
Yes. One thing that I noticed when I started, and I started many decades ago actually, that my eyesight got much, much, much stronger and much better.
Yeah, people have all different kinds of results from eating raw food, and many people start eating raw food for two reasons. One, for the animals, and the other is because of their health. And sometimes we don't realize that as we do age, more things come into our body. We lose cells and our bodies change, and we have to start getting more conscious, I think, about what we eat, particularly in today's world with what they put in processed food. It's so chemical laden. Anybody eating processed food is definitely speeding up the aging process instead of reversing it.
Well, quite simply, when we look at it, it just seems so unnatural to go to the grocery store and it's rows and aisles of synthetic food. It's all just additives and processed, and the nutritional value is not there. It just makes perfect sense to respect the food in its whole state.
Exactly. Well, I think that the manufacturers try to fool people. They say this is a blueberry cereal, and yet there's no real blueberries in the box. It's all chemically made.
Yes.
The carrot cake, it has no carrots in it. It's all chemical. And so people are in a hurry. They don't want to spend the time, and everybody thinks it's too difficult to eat healthy. But the fact of the matter, what I know, is that people don't take care of themselves early enough on. They're going to spend their money on prescription drugs and all their time going to doctors. So that if they would just read the box and see what's in there, the chemicals that are in there, the fake fortified vitamins that are in there, I think people might turn around and change their mind. You know, I always think about families. They love their kids and they go shopping and they just throw things in the basket without even looking. And you know, the people you love, you want to feed them good food, but they always say, I'm too busy. So many mothers tell me, I don't know what to do. I'm too busy to start from scratch to cook. But it actually is easy once you learn a few dishes. It's easy to do that. And raw food, a salad, fruit, smoothies, juices, and then there's all those fabulous little more what I call gourmet meals in the raw food.
Well, Mimi, give me an overview of the life of in the day of Mimi for eating. What would you start with for breakfast and then move into a lunch? And I heard that the best way is not to eat in the evenings. From my research, they say to eat very light meals in the evenings.
Well, for myself, everything works a little different for each person, I think. And for myself, I know my appetite is different every day. I try to make this way of living as easy as possible. Mm-hmm. So I know the one thing I do in the morning is I have a juice. I'll make a smoothie sometimes, but I love to have juice because I have to put a lot. When you're juicing, you need a huge amount of vegetables to juice to get your full big jar glass of juice. And you need 1.5 pounds to 2 pounds of raw fruits and vegetables every day to keep your cells healthy. So I always start out with the juice. Some days that juice holds me until later in the day and I don't eat until 3 o'clock or something. Other days I'm hungry after I eat, and then I'll have some granola that I might make with some almond milk. I eat a lot of salads. I love salads and raw vegetables. I make raw hummus. I make raw breads and crackers, so I always have that for a snack. And then dinner just depends. Sometimes I'm hungry at dinner. I don't go by the normal rules, I guess. I eat when I'm hungry, and my body tells me, and my weight stays the same. I'm at a very comfortable weight, I think. I think as you age, especially in my age bracket, too thin doesn't look as good. It'll look better in your 50s, doesn't look so good in your 70s. So it's good to have a little a body, but I'm still small, I'm still thin. So I eat when I'm hungry. And I just find when I'm eating the raw food, I eat when I'm hungry, and it all works out for me. I don't have to worry about disciplining, or I shouldn't eat so much, or I should eat at a certain time. My body really directs how I eat. So
right. How about nuts and seeds?
I think nuts and seeds are very important. I eat a variety of all of that. I love, like in the morning, sometimes I'll soak some raw oat groats, and I put some pumpkin seeds in there, and I soak those for a while. And then I'll add flaxseed and hemp seed and chia seeds and put some almond milk in there with some fresh fruit. It's a delicious breakfast. So I'm really big on the seeds. I make a hemp seed latte. I make chia pudding. I think those are full of protein and very healthy. And they're so delicious and easy to fix. It takes seconds to fix those things. So I think nuts and seeds are very important on a raw food diet.
And what juicer are you using? Do you prefer the Norwalk, or do you have a Vitamix also?
I have everything.
You have everything.
I have many pieces of equipment. To me, that's like buying a new car.
Okay. And what's your favorite piece of equipment?
Well, I have a Norwalk, which I love. If I'm going to do a juice cleanse, I always use the Norwalk. I think it makes incredible juice. It's a little more time consuming, and it's not for everybody. It's a very expensive machine. My boyfriend bought it for me for a birthday one year because he knew I wanted one. And so when I do juice cleanses or I want to juice for 3 days at a time, I always use the Norwalk. Otherwise, I use a Kuving. It's a wide mouth. I have an Omega 8006. I like the Slow Star juicer when I'm in Europe. So I have a variety of juicers I use, but I always use the Vitamix. I love that blender. That's an amazing blender. So when I make smoothies, I have a Vitamix here, and I have a European model blender when I'm in Europe. I have 2 homes, so I have double equipment, double hydrators and everything. But I love the new equipment that comes out. I'm so happy with both those juicers I have. They're very quick. The Kuvings Juicer, you can put a whole apple in it. It's a slow auger, which is the kind of juicer I like. They're very easy to clean. The old juicers were difficult to clean, and people didn't feel like juicing because they were so difficult. But in today's world, it's great. And if you're in a hurry and you're rushing off to work, you can just throw it in a big bowl of water that's in the sink, a big pan, and when you come home, you just rinse it out. They're very, very easy to clean. But I think juicing is vital. I think you have to juice every day. If not, you can't get all those vitamins that you need, all those pounds of vegetables that you really need to consume. So juicing is a miracle to me. And sometimes I'll juice twice a day, just depending how I feel.
Well, you mentioned that you were raised on the typical American diet. So when is the last time that you've actually eaten flesh of meat?
Well, let's see. The last time I ate it, I've been with my boyfriend for 14 years, and when I first met him, he ate everything. He ate the standard diet. And my mother said the way to a man's heart is through his stomach. He's 19 years younger than me, so I figure, well, I better bring out all the stops and fix him what he likes. So that's when I ate meat. I fixed roast beef and stews and all that stuff. And we ate that way for a little while, and then I said, I can't eat this way anymore. And now he's a vegetarian, mostly vegan, and he eats raw. So he's changed on his own. He's completely changed his diet too. Now, that was the last time. And I don't think, like in the earlier days when I go back every once in a while, I don't think I would do that again. I'm too educated now about animal cruelty. I just can't even imagine it. There's so many films out today if people want to educate themselves. And I must say this, at my age, I'm completely healthy. I'm on no prescription drugs. I wake up, I have no idea about my age until I pass a mirror. I think I wake up, no aches and pains, I feel like a young girl. I just feel great. And so I know that you do not need to eat animal products to be healthy, because I consider myself the picture of health. And I don't think people need it. And there's movies like Earthlings or Forks Over Knives. There's such good films today to help you educate yourself how you can either cut back or you can stop altogether.
Yes.
So, yeah, for both those films, Forks Over Knives, I think, is a very good mainstream film for people to see who might want to improve their health. And, you know, I don't like to preach to people too much about the animals, but it's always amazing to me that people love their dogs and cats and hold them off separately from other kind of animals. They all suffer the same when they're going to be taken to slaughter, and they try to get away. They're fighting for their life. So I think people have to start wake up. I do think we're moving that way, because years ago there wasn't very much about vegetarianism or vegan, and now there's restaurants all over the world. There's raw restaurants everywhere. There's always vegetarian or vegan on the menu. I mean, I think it's just pretty amazing. So yeah, I think we are moving in a really great direction as far as that goes.
Yes. I see that you were visiting Cafe Gratitude, their new opening.
Yes.
Is that in LA, or did they open up in?
Well, they have a few restaurants in LA. They have a couple. They just opened up in San Diego, so we were excited because there really isn't anything in San Diego. When I go to Los Angeles, I have a list of places to go that are vegan and raw, and you know, they're fantastic restaurants. It's very popular. They're packed all the time. There's so many good ones.
Yes.
Matthew Kenny's Plant Food, just beautiful places to eat. But this is finally, they opened up one in San Diego. It's a fabulous restaurant. And the thing I love, anyone can eat there. You don't have to think it's vegetarian or vegan. The food is so delicious. It's just great food. It's just good food. So you could go there with anyone, and they'll be very happy to find something on the menu they like.
Yes.
Even if they're carnivores, they will.
And what is your understanding of genetically modified organism, GMO, Monsanto? And are you eating 100% organic?
Yes, that's one thing I think is a very big thing, is to eat organic. And that's a very important thing to me. Even when I'm abroad, I find organic food. I think that the GMO food is really bad for us, and there's no need to put more chemicals in our body. And I'm finding even the standard markets, even where I live in Ramona, which is near San Diego, I'm a little ways from downtown San Diego, these markets now have lots of organic food. You can find lots of things. They have a section for the produce. It's all organic. So it's easier for people to find today. And I know people think it's more expensive, but it's more expensive when you have to pay for doctor bills and take care of your health. So I recommend organic all the time, and don't juice unless it's organic. That's one thing I think is a big thing. If you're juicing and you're not juicing organic, I think it's not as good. If you have no choice, make sure you peel everything. And I don't think there's much vitamins in food that's chemically raised. I think it's much better to have fresh fruits and vegetables that are organic and definitely non-GMO.
Yes, and you've put together a book. What is the name of your book?
Well, I have 3 books out. My first book was called Live Raw, which is a wonderful introduction to raw food. I think it really educates you. It's got great recipes. Even if you don't go all raw, it's great. My second book, my boyfriend and I traveled around to 7 countries, and we did a book called Live Raw Around the World. with recipes from India and Italy and France and India and all the places, Greece, all the places we traveled. We did a raw food book. And then I just came out with a juice book this year called The Ultimate Book of Modern Juicing. And that has smoothies and juices in there and talks about equipment and really educates you on things that you can put into your drink if you have certain ailments. If you have diabetes or you have thyroid problems or whatever, weight loss, there's all kinds of foods that support that with the vitamins and nutrients and phytochemicals. So I have 3 books out, and very proud to say they're bestsellers. I get great feedback on them, and I think these really help save a lot of people's lives in so many ways to change their diet. And the people write me all the time how they've rid themselves of, you know, diseases they had, just like I did with high blood pressure and cholesterol. So,
And we can find your books on Amazon?
yes, on Amazon. On my website, I autograph the books. If you buy them from me direct, I autograph the books and send a little gift out. Some people like their books autographed. If not, you can find them in the bookstores, and you can get them on Amazon.
Do you also do consultations with people that want to reach out to you to talk about their health and to have guidance from you?
Yes, I do Skype consultations when it's not in my hometown. I have lots of clients. I only take a couple of a month because I spend quite a bit of time with them. I've really been very successful with the people I've worked with. It's very rewarding because people have changed their life. They've lost weight. Whatever they come in for, they get plus more. Because what I find is, you know, diet I always put as number one, but there's so many issues that keep us from moving ahead in life just for what we want, for everything, no matter what it is we want. So attitude, loving yourself, all these things, any problems people might have in their early days that they hold throughout their life, they have to rid those in order to have a healthy body. So I help people move through that. The other thing is I speak a lot internationally and in the United States. I travel around and do speaking engagements, and I also do trainings on food. I also show people how to prepare the food. I do a lot of demonstrations. I'll be doing a few. I'm leaving for Mallorca in a few days, our second home, and I'll be doing some demonstrations at some classes in Spain. So I'm always excited about that, to show people how to make raw food. Then I have a lot of YouTube videos out showing people how to make juices and how to make raw food. So yeah, it's a wonderful way to live. It makes you feel good. It makes you feel good to be able to help other people and be an example in some way. You know, there's so many people my age that are sick. They're on walkers. They're already in senior homes. And I don't feel it has to be that way. And we need to see more people in my age bracket living a healthy life. And I always post things on my page. I just posted something about a gymnast. She's 90, doing all the turns and holding herself up on the parallel bars. And, you know, I love seeing who my idols are, who are in their 80s and 90s. So it's fantastic what's happening, what we're learning now. Our doctor and the media can't tell us how you're supposed to be at a certain age. You have to feel good inside and not let your age make you feel any different, you know? So, and health, it plays a big part. Health, exercise, good way of thinking, it all comes into play.
Yes, yes.
To be ageless.
Absolutely. Let's speak about the difference between European and American way of eating and lifestyle. You spend a lot of time in Europe.
Yeah.
So what are the main points that you see of the differences?
Well, you know, it's very interesting. When I first traveled to a few countries, Germany, I thought, well, there's not going to be that much healthy food here because they've got, you know, on every corner you can buy schnitzel. You know, you can buy like a hot dog that's a sausage in a roll. And I see so many foods that look so terrible. However, it's changing so quickly. When I go there to speak, I fill a room with 1,000 people sometimes. There are people so interested in changing their diet. It's moving so fast. They don't want GMO there. They don't like the chemicals in the food. They turn food down that we try to send over from America. They say, no, we don't want this particular ingredient in there. So they're getting very, very conscious about eating better. You know, everybody has their traditional food. You go to Italy and everything's pasta. But even there, things are starting to change. People are now having gluten-free pizza and gluten-free pasta. So everybody is becoming more aware. Everywhere I travel, everywhere, you see still some of the old way to eat, just like we do in America. There's people still buying those packaged goods and eating fast food restaurants, and children here are getting fatter and fatter and fatter and unhealthier. You still have that element, but I do think that the other side is moving very quickly into more healthy eating. And I find that in Europe, people are very, very conscious about eating clean food, like I say, no GMO and organic. And so I find a lot of that there, which surprised me in some of the countries I was in. And then, of course, you have the Mediterranean diet. So people are eating fish, but they're eating fish and vegetables, and they're eating, very healthy olive oils and stuff like that. So I think there's a lot of healthy eating all around the world today in those kind of countries.
Well, example of the changes is the more people wake up and the more people have the conversations and the more it's on the news, then even McDonald's is changing their menu slowly but surely, and the fast food industry is waking up. Where people didn't have these conversations before, they can get away with a lot of things, of putting the trans fat in and a lot of not quality. So when the people are demanding quality, they will get it.
That's right. But I think some of these companies, they're not changing because they have conscience about the food. They're changing because it's hurt their business.
Yes.
And they're not bringing in the food for any other reason. I mean, it's so interesting how in large corporations I wonder sometimes if they have any thoughts about what they're doing to people, what they're putting in the sodas and the kind of food, because it's still rampant. As you said, when you go down into a grocery store, the shelves are just filled with this food. And I think that as far as the fast food companies go, they're just trying to show they're doing something, good to draw people in because it was hurting their business. I don't think their conscience is there as much. So
absolutely.
I think they still need to be educated, and I still think the money makers need to be educated, and we do need to change. You can't enforce anything. All we can do is educate people. It's up to us as an individual to take control over our own health. Even our doctors, you go to a doctor, they hand you a prescription. They don't usually tell you to change your diet. You go to a surgeon who wants to operate because that's what he's trained in doing. You go to a homeopathic doctor and they're trying to tell you what to do naturally, more naturally. So that's what they're trained in. So we have to educate ourselves. And it's all there today. Like you said, you could read, you could see it in the magazines. You have to take that on your own. I'm sure you're aware of all these advertisements that are out there. Trying to give people a drug for something and then telling all these side effects, which are horrifying. The side effects are what's going to kill you. And these people are taking it to get rid of one little thing, an itch or something, and then they've got all these side effects where they can pass out or don't drive or, whatever it is that they tell them, the dangers of this drug. So that's why I'm saying the pharmaceutical companies, the large companies, are out to make their money. That's what they're in business for. We have to take control of our own bodies and educate ourselves.
Mimi, we just have a few moments left, and I'd like to ask you what you would like to share that you're very, very passionate about. Obviously, you're very passionate about your health, your food, and your responsibility to yourself about your life being and your quality of your living. That's
right.
Very, very apparent. But what are you very passionate about that you'd like to share with the audience?
Well, I want to say that love is such a big thing in the world. We get so caught up in material life, but loving yourself and your friends and family, that is life. It's not what you amass. It's not anything else. It's what you learn that you're able to give back to people, which I think is important. And I think if more of us did that, we stopped harming animals, because there's brutality in that. You feel a kinder, gentler person if you know you're not killing to eat. I think that would be a great improvement for many people. And just have a consciousness about love and loving people. You want to feed them the best food. Stop buying the junk. Feed the people you love good food. Feed yourself good food. Love yourself. Be happy with where you are at any age. You're going to age. You're going to change, but you have to love yourself just the way you are. And that's very important. I think if you do that, you emanate love out there to other people. And the energy that you give out is very positive, but it has to start on yourself. So find a way to love who you are. Look in the mirror and just enjoy your wrinkles, your hair, whatever you have. Just love the way you are.
Well, thank you. Very powerful. Thank you indeed. It was a great pleasure to speak with you. And from the Art of Conscious Living, do take care of yourselves and take care of others. Thank you.